I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector Podcast. And I'm joined today by Mike Stark, President and CEO of Arizona Gold and Silver. Welcome back to the podcast, Mike.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here, Michael.
Yeah, always. And it's a good time for us to get together and have this conversation. There has been a lot happening in the Arizona gold and silver world in the last 2 to 3 weeks. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of all of that, let's start with the usual elevator pitch, 10,000 foot view of the company as to who you guys are and what you're doing and why.
Well, we are, as many know, an exploration company looking for gold and silver in the Arizona district of the Oatman district of Arizona, specifically the farthest west you can go, bordering on Nevada and California. We have the largest low sulfidation epithermal system in Arizona right now, and we're obviously attacking it very aggressively here in an upcoming drill program. And in the hopes of that, Mike, is we will be drilling the heart of the system.
And that's exciting news. And it is attracting attention. You guys, about 3 weeks ago, and I'm going to lament the fact that I was a day late and $1 short and I didn't get to participate in this placement. But you attracted a couple of whales into your last private placement, and it came in well over the initial plan.
We were very fortunate, Mike, and don't feel alone. You wouldn't believe the amount of people emailing after the fact we closed. If there was any exterior room, if there was any opportunity, please, can you consider me? And some of those people now have bought in the market and giving us a greater share price as a result, which is great. The two individuals you're speaking of was Sprott and Rick Rule. Delighted to have them on board. More importantly, I think what people should understand is this group is very concentrated in certain areas, and one of them being in the gold and silver, obviously. But what they really saw was the opportunity that we present. And that really scored well with me and, of course, the other members of the team. They see the opportunity with the Red Hills, our next drill program, being the root of the system. And if, in fact, it's there, I'm always careful, we could be sitting on a multiple million-ounce discovery.
Yeah, so this is why I invested in disclosure. I am an investor in Arizona Gold and Silver, but whenever you guys put money into the ground, there's always a reason for doing it, and you come away with giving a return on the investment that's going into the ground going forward. And I got to think that that's the kind of thing that Rick and Eric saw being proved out up until they've joined in the investor club with you guys.
And thank you for that, but I got to make a little correction there. This does not emphasize Eric. Eric, I understand, is looking, but at this point, it is not Eric that's involved with us. It's a Sprott fund and Rick Rule. So I always want to be completely transparent.
Not a problem. I hear Sprott. I think Eric, unfortunately.
Yeah, and everybody does, right? And like I say, I'm not disputing the fact that he's looking, but at this point, it is not Eric that's it's a fund under control of Sprott. That in itself gives me the real accreditation is that we've been working with this group. I started with one of the geologists about 3 years ago, and the opportunity came to make the call again approximately a month and a half ago now. And as a result, we had 3 meetings, and there were 7 on the call one time. So again, these guys are pouring through the data, and they understand a lot about what's going on in these systems. And they came back very flattering and said, look, we'd like to present you with a lead order of 850,000. Now that really benchmarked where we were going right away. So the idea of raising 3 million, being that basically a third of it was filled already, I had no issues. I knew that I could turn back to some of the existing shareholders that wanted to increase their position, and hopefully family and friends, which I call, more or less anybody that's been knowledge with me or friends and family for over 2 years. They immediately jumped on, and we got new friends and family as a result of that, friends of their friends that came in. So it was outstanding support. And we managed to close 4.6 instead of 3. And that's going to give us a long runway, Mike. We've got so much planned, and it's going to start coming out. Again, maybe even as early as next week, there'll be additional news. but a really good time to be here. The fact that Greg has done this so methodically, drill, analyze, then go back, drill, analyze, go back. Nothing's done rushed and nothing is done. As a result, we've got like an 85% hit ratio on the current patented claims. I mean, that's outstanding results. The money, about 91% went in the ground on the last drill campaign. We're not a lifestyle. We do not stay in the fanciest of hotels, and I can assure you on that. But it's, again, we're one of the largest shareholders. Why wouldn't we make our money work harder instead of just living it up, as they say? I'm not a fan of that at all. Matter of fact, I despise it.
No, and you guys have always been very targeted with the Treasury. Now, going forward, this raise is giving you guys lots of capital to accelerate your fall drill program and plans. So what's coming up? Where's the drill going, and what's it going to be going looking for?
Sure. We, as discussed in several points on news releases, we have 2 BLM pads that are now constructed, finished, and the rig will be going to pad number 1 first. That's illustrated on our company PowerPoint on the website. There's a fan of 4 holes. Those 4 are immediately nearest some of our best intersects of 103 meters of 1.57, 115 meters of 1.34, with a high-grade vein involved in there as well. If, and again, I'm always careful, we're stepping out approximately 100, 125 meters and drilling down, and that's well illustrated on the PowerPoint. So you'll get a sense, first hole, like maybe 800, 850, 900, and then 1,000 feet. None of those are 100% that we're going to stop at 800 or 850. If we're in material that we see that we like, we'll continue. And that's the beauty of having Greg or Mark on the drill rig at all times.
I'm going to use a Rick ruleism, since he has joined you guys as an investor. Rick always says when you're deploying his capital, he wants to know what unanswered question is going to be answered by this work. And so that's the way I'm going to word this. What unanswered questions are you guys going to learn from the fall drill programs, so that when we talk after the results come in, we're going to have answers to those questions?
Specifically, the Red Hills, providing we're correct, this should be the root or let's say the root ball of the entire mineralized system. If in fact this is the case, we're going to really have a big deposit, much bigger than we initially saw, because we've drilled 130 holes and they all indicate that this material is being pushed and coming from somewhere. And that somewhere, we believe, is the Red Hills, which is where we're going to be drilling next.
Wonderful. And how many drill holes are going to get poked into the Red Hill?
Right now, it'll be between 15 to 18 holes, providing everything is going the way we see it. Again, the footage is always a concern, Mike. At $150 a foot, and you can run, 10 holes and go through a lot of money really quickly, depending on the lengths. I mean, all these things are subject to. We might have a hole that only goes 600 feet because we don't like what we see, where the next one goes 1,400 feet because we really liked what we saw. It's going to be a moving target based on the observation of Mark or Greg at the time on the drill. But I'm very focused on at least 10, 12 to 15 holes for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I like about you guys. Again, it's always about the observation of what's going on in the ground. To use a sports euphemism, you could keep doing the same thing and trying to run the same play, but if the other team's got it stacked up, you could do that for the entire game and not get anywhere.
Exactly.
You have to make those halftime adjustments, so to speak.
Yeah. And Greg has been very evident of that when we were drilling the north side of the unpatented ground on the BLM towards the highway. He stopped and he's like, this isn't making sense. There's got to be something going on here. And you step away, you give it some time and you think about it. We stepped over maybe 30, 35 feet, bang, we ran right into 32 gram material. And he's like, I should have known it was a fault. And but again, until you drill, you really don't know. But once we drilled it, you get a visual down there of what's going on. And he's like, hey, we got to step away from this. It's something took place here.
Yeah. And then the data comes back and then you reassess and you put more drill into it, right?
Exactly. We're extremely pleased. This area is some of the best results we've ever had. Pad 2 will be over towards hole 91, which again was one of our better holes. And these are all listed on the website, so you can clearly go through them and see, where this high-grade vein is. One of the reference that Greg gives is we've got a sandwich. So we've got a high-grade vein at the top, which is called the hanging wall vein, and then we have a footwall vein. Both of those are high grades. In between, we have a bulk stockwork, and that's what we're drilling into on this Red Hill. So again, once we get the knowledge from this, we'll be able to further ascertain where maybe even more of the meat will be coming from, or more of the mineralization specifically.
Wonderful. When does the drill program wrap up, and when are you anticipating starting to see results coming back from these drills?
I've said this a couple of times now, and I really mean it, is I hope to have a drill hole for Christmas analyzed and returned to our shareholders as a Christmas present. These will be deep, long holes. So each and every hole, once completed, will be shipped to the lab for immediate assay. So we're not wasting any time. We're simply not bulking up 4 drill holes. We're sending each and every one to the lab immediately. So there will be ongoing news well into March, April next year.
Now, that part of Arizona that you're in, is that high country? Do you guys have a bit of a winter breakup period that you can't really work there, or is that an area you can work year round?
Just the opposite. Yes, we can work year round, but however, we've been finding, and it's no fault of ours, July and August, it's 120 degrees. That's not safe for personnel. So we have a plan, and we'll discuss that a little later, but we have a plan for July, August term. But at this point, we're good 10 months out of the year without having any risk to personnel to drill. So that's a very good program for a longevity as well.
Yeah, look at me being dyslexic, asking about snow and get 120-degree desert.
Not your fault. I mean, to the north, you can go into up by Tonopah and get into the higher ranges up there, and there's snow, and yet it'll be 65, 80 degrees down below, right? So no, it depends on elevation, and we have a very, very warm but very nice climate, at least 10 months out of the year.
That's a good thing. If people want to follow these results as they come out later in the year and follow your progress on site, how would they do so, Mike?
Several ways. Best one is simply pick up the phone and ask me a question. I'm always available on it, and if I do get an answering machine, I quickly phone you back. That number is 604-833-4278. Obviously, our email is listed on our website. That's arizonagoldsilver.com. And there's references there also to info. You can sign up for our news releases. And that's really, really simple. Go to the contact page on the website and just simply enter your name and your email address. It'll ask the question if they have permission. That's a privacy thing. Once you say yes, you're automatically listed with us. Matter of fact, I will be sending out some news this weekend to our subscribers. So if you wish that news, just simply subscribe and we'll be sending you direct emails from the company.
Wonderful. I appreciate the time and the update. This is an exciting period for the company, and I cannot wait to open my Christmas present when the first drill results come.
It'll have a nice red ribbon on it too, Mike.
That's a beautiful thing. You take care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Take care now.
Arizona Gold and Silver is a paid sponsor of the Prospector News. The host owns shares and warrants of the company purchased at the market for investment purposes. The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.